This time on episode 502 of Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D., we talk the 2024 Disney Plus show Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur Season 2, episodes 8 through 14.
I'm SP from the GonnaGeek.com show, a weekly geek news podcast that is part of the GonnaGeek.com network, just like the show you're checking out now. Shows on the network are individually owned and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other amazing geek shows at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
Raised on X-Men, empowered by the Avengers, strengthened by the Defenders, webbed by Spider-Man, adopted by the Fantastic Four, and forged by S.H.I.E.L.D. Stand by for your Marvel debriefing.
And now it's time for your scheduled debriefing. I'm Agent Lauren.
I'm Agent Michelle.
I'm Agent Chris.
And I'm producer of the show, Director SP. Welcome to the Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. This show is recorded on Saturday, March 9th, 2024, live from the Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. studios and broadcast LES-wide. Come join our live chat as we record. And we are going to continue our discussion of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur Season 2. Michelle, which episode's we covering?
The Devil You Know. When Lunella and Devil Dinosaur spend the weekend apart after a disagreement, Devil Dino gets mixed up with a ragtag group of ex-superhero sidekicks. In the heist, Lunella learns that a stolen Kree artifact is about to cause a cataclysmic storm. But when none of the adults believe her, she must swipe it herself. Dog Day mid-afternoon. When Pops fosters a mysterious stray dog and enters him into a dog show, a paranoid Lunella is convinced the creature is an evil alien who intends to sabotage the event. Roller Jam. When Pop's rivalry with former best friend and skate partner Vernell threatens to ruin Roller Jam, Lunella meddles in their beef to squash it. Dancing with Myself. Lunella is desperate to find a date to the school dance, but when she gets Kid Kree to be her escort, she learns that peer pressure can harm the relationships that matter most. Family Matters. When Moon Girl teams up with the amazing superhero Turbo, she realizes the true cost of keeping up a secret identity. The Molecular Level. After Lunella tells her family that she's Moon Girl, she must convince them that she will be safe, which seems impossible when Molecule Man shows up for revenge.
All right, 7 episodes in the finale for Season 2. Lauren, what are your first thoughts?
So we're not even pretending this isn't a queer metaphor, are we?
Chris?
How was the LES gonna handle not having their hero for a while?
Michelle?
We get a heist episode, one to add to the list of good ones.
And I'm thinking maybe Devil is finally going to get that family road trip now that he wanted. All right, we're going to break these 7 episodes down into the 4 main themes that we talked about last time. Treating people better, friendship, pressure, and identity. We're going to start with identity. Michelle?
Well, hiding her identity is hurting her relationships. Devil isn't part of the family. Lunella lies and yells to her family. So it's getting to the point where not telling is possibly losing the family, and then telling the family equals risk. So which one is she going to do?
And I can totally understand why she wants to keep this from her family, although how she's been able to hide Devil is kind of a mystery to me, because he's kind of big. But finding that balance between being yourself and letting other people get to know who you are is a big thing here that she's working out, especially toward the end of the season.
The hiding a devil thing, that got to me, especially when they were doing the museum, the heist episode. I'm like, you can't hide. He's right there, broad daylight. He's there. You can't hide him anymore.
That one cracked me up where he's a patron of the arts and everyone just acts like that's totally normal.
It's the thing. I was wrong, by the way. At the end of last episode, I speculated that the family would come out and say, oh, we knew, that sort of thing. Oh, no, they did not know. That we'll get to that in a little bit. But I was thinking, since they're in New York in the Lower East Side and Maria Hill is there, does Agent Maria Hill know Robin Scherbatsky? How I Met Your Mother.
I never watched How I Met Your Mother.
No, I'm trying to decide if I think they know each other, because that would be an interesting little twist there, especially if they met at the bar.
That's what I was thinking. That Maria goes out for a drink and there's Robin.
I'm pretty sure I've read that fanfic, though.
Crossover episode where the rest of the How I Met Your Mother crew accidentally take Maria Hill for something.
The one I remember reading was Robin was Maria Hill's like undercover alter ego for a previous thing.
That's kind of Robin Sparkles, though. Okay, Robin Sparkles is the pop star version of Robin.
I do know that.
Yeah.
Redacted copyright song.
Yeah, I know. When you start singing, it's like, ah. Lauren, what'd you think about The Identity?
Okay. I am going to be talking a lot about the whole queer metaphor thing. She literally comes out of a closet in an episode. Mimi remarks on it. The whole hiding devil dinosaur thing felt a lot like you read or you hear about, thankfully, this has not been my experience, but if you are queer and you're dating somebody of a different gender than your family expects you to be dating, and you have to hide that and say, oh, we're just friends, we're roommates, or I'm just not even going to mention you. It's being treated like a kind of a shameful little secret, a dirty little secret, if you will. Again, the metaphor was just screaming to me all through these episodes.
At least with the dance episode, with the Dancing with Myself episode, that was the title of it. At least with that, they both said it's okay if you want to, and it's okay if you don't want to. They literally said that in there. So at least there was
I loved that.
And they had lots of same-sex couples in there too, which was great.
Okay, let's move on to the second theme of pressure. Michelle?
Well, finally, Lunella comes into her own in the finale. I mean, all the pressure that she's been under, she actually gets to the point where she's begging for the Beyonder, because the pressure is just from every episode from the beginning to now. But then she's remembered that she has leveled up as Lunella and as Moon Girl.
And she's starting to get those panic attacks again as she's cut off from her family in the room by herself. And just hearing Devil through the rubble there was just a great reminder that, yes, these panic attacks suck and everything, but there could be that one little thing that pulls you out of it.
Kind of like the music and the talking in the episode with the, robot wars.
I watched it a couple of times, and that scene where she's banging against the door on her knees in the finale, and she can't do anything else. Fortunately, Devil comes through with her suit and she's able to press forward. But there's sometimes in life where that's it. That's where you're at. And of course, you can't go there, but just never knew, especially with this being the finale. And I didn't remember if there's going to be a season of 3 or not. Spoiler, there must be because of the way it ends, but I don't know. So I thought that was a very isolated, lonely, impactful point.
Looking at the lighter side of things, though, just keeping up the lie of all this is a ton of work, and the identity from her family. Like, her chart for her after school activities that she had and didn't have probably would have stretched across multiple 8K monitors.
I'm not going to lie. We had a briefing this past week, and we literally printed out on a plotter and had laminated a 9-foot spreadsheet. It wasn't a schedule-based spreadsheet, and we used it. And we had to unroll it very dramatically during a meeting and everything. A 9-foot spreadsheet is pretty big, and even our 49-inch 2K monitors cannot accommodate the spreadsheet. So
I was going to ask if you rolled it out like a scroll.
Yeah, well, it took two of us. It was 9 foot long and about 2.5 feet wide. So I stood on the one end while my coworker took the other end and rolled it out right in front of the room during the presentation. And it was useful and it was impactful. If you remember the Cuban Missile Crisis, and I believe the movie was 13 Days, you saw when Adler went and he was displaying the actual pictures of the missiles in Cuba, right? It was kind of one of those moments. But the schedule here, to get back to Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, the schedule would have been a whole wall. Maybe a movie theater might have been able to accommodate it, Chris.
Maybe an IMAX.
It was huge. And I don't know how they printed it out because plotters only go so big.
There's a lot of tape involved.
And the plan printers at where I work definitely could have printed something like that size that you had at least.
This is when the dot matrix printers come in handy. You just keep going.
Well, yeah, that's basically what a plotter is. It's just a big roll of paper, and you're limited by the bar that's on the actual plotter and the width of the paper that goes on there. So, yeah, that's what a plotter is, and it will just roll out and roll out and roll out until you're done with paper. But Lauren, you had some pressure notes too.
Yeah, so bouncing off of what Chris said about keeping up the lie, the pressure that she's putting on herself to both keep her secret and come out to her family is causing a lot of internal tension. She finally snaps and starts to actually damage her relationship with her family. She yells at them. She's been avoiding them. They feel kind of abandoned because, here's all the fun stuff that we used to do together, and you're just avoiding me, and you're not giving me an explanation, and you're not it's just radio silence in a lot of cases. And she talks to, oh shoot, I forget who, but she mentions how she was so worried that by telling them that she might lose them because in this case it's, the lying. And we've heard throughout the season, lying's bad, lying, just be truthful. And thankfully, that's not the case. But again, personally, when I came out to my parents, I know my parents love me. I know that they probably already knew. It was still terrifying. And I was in my 30s, so I couldn't imagine at, how old is she? 13?
Yeah,
right in
middle
there.
school. I mean, it's her first dance.
12 or 13.
12, 13, yeah. Yeah, the pressure to grow up real fast is real in real life, and they're mirroring that here, which is good. And overscheduling, which we talked about with the big schedule, it's a pressure that's real for both kids and adults. And in that light, this season of Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, I think, was a little less relatable for adults and a little more relatable for kids overall, I'd have to say. Just watching it, and the first season I remember being a little bit more engaged, in the season I was like, Now this could just be because I'm AARP age, I'm way disjointed from that time in my life, or it could be because that's really what it was. So
this was relatable to me in the sense that, again, failed former gifted and talented kid. And I was watching this and thinking, this is the kind of thing that I wish I'd had when I was young.
I kind of related more and more to Peter Weller's character, who played the museum curator. So I kind of related to him, and unfortunately, I don't think we'll be seeing him back. Or if we see him back again, it'd probably be as a villain. So we'll see. Anyway, let's move on to the next theme, friendship. Michelle, what do you have there?
Well, Lunella slowly learns how to become a better friend when she realizes that peer pressure, you can't have peer pressure force a relationship onto a friend. Kid Cree just wants to be friends for now. And Lunella finally realizes that he's right. Being friends right now is the best course of action. And she starts to treat Devil better when they're apart for a little bit on that, when she gets to go on the road trip and Devil is left home alone where he finds some new friends. So it's interesting how Devil works through the friendship with Lunella as opposed to his new friends.
Those new friends, like, I'm not sure if they were actually kind of trying to be friends in a toxic situation with Devil, or if they saw that he was big and they could use him in a plan that they weren't going to tell him about.
Those friends did not treat him well, and I don't think they would in the future even. So I hope you find some friends that are not part of the ABC.
I kept cracking up every time they said ABC because if anybody else likes Les Miserables, movie, musical, book, whatever, that's the name for the college students who try to stage a rebellion and it doesn't go well. But also, all of the ABCs bond through a shared pain. In this case, feeling rejected by someone who is supposed to love them. And bonding over negative experiences isn't always the best basis for friendship. I've been involved in online fandom since 1997, and I've seen people bond over, I hate this character, I hate this series, I hate this person. And the thing is that when starting a friendship like that, you are basing it on I hate instead of I like. So what do you have in common outside of that?
And what kind of groups does that lead to? This is not the show for me to answer it, but you all know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, unfortunately, the ABC sidekicks, they weren't being receptive to what was actually happening.
Oh, that was the best part, I think. Pebble has been Granite's friend for so long and so loved and everything, and sees one negative thing and jumps to a conclusion and literally runs away. The horse, a horse on a plane is probably a bad idea, depending on what kind of plane it is. But the horse's hero friend taking advantage of the fact that they know the horse likes to fly around. So, hey, here's an excuse. Let's go fly around.
I'm kind of surprised that the horse actually saw the jet because unless I missed something, I think that was a reference to Wonder Woman.
Oh, yeah, we were trying to figure that out. We couldn't think of anyone else.
Yeah.
Because it definitely wasn't the Blackbird. Red Wing kind of had a little bit of an argument because Red Wing's whole issue was, I don't know who my friend is. But then when finding out that it was just a protection thing the whole time, and his name wasn't Jerry.
Jerry's can be superheroes. Come on.
Name one Jerry superhero.
I'm stretching to figure it out. I'm sure somebody is yelling into their podcatcher right now or phone and letting us know.
I guess Jerry from Tom and Jerry in a superhero costume. That's the only thing that Google has brought up.
If someone wants to come in the comments and prove me wrong, that would be great. And then, Tooth Gnasher, blah, blah, blah. We don't even know because he is actually maybe abandoned.
So Tooth Gnasher cracked me up because Tooth Gnasher is in Norse mythology one of Thor's goats. So technically this is Tooth Gnasher's second appearance in on-screen Marvel because he did show up in Thor Love and Thunder. I just love the whole I can't talk about this due to legal proceedings, and everyone else gets their happy ending and he is still pursuant to legal proceedings. It's like, what did you do?
All of your friends are coming back to you. No, wait, not all of you.
Yeah, it wasn't just the friendship in the realm of the ABC, though. We also were dealing with the aftermath of the Beyonder. Now, I do believe the Beyonder was a toxic friend to begin with, just because of all the bad that he had done in the universe, which comes back to haunt us in the finale here. But he is still MIA, and there is still that fractured relationship between the two of them. And she did call out for him. So there's still something there. And there was a reference that isn't this usually where the Beyonder comes in and tells us what's going on? That happened in, I believe it was the Heist episode.
I think so.
Yeah.
No, it was the dog episode.
Oh, it was the
Was
dog
it?
episode? Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So you still have that. And then there's even more friendship, long-term friendship that has been broken that was referenced here too.
Oh, the Pops and Vernell first rekindling of their rivalry and then rekindling of their friendship. They put pride before their friendship when they were young, and they lost out on decades of potential friendship. And when we see them again, when Vernell accidentally gets invited, we see that again. They're both trying to outdo each other. They're both trying to prove, oh, this is how good I am without you. And it gets to the point where it's ruining things for everybody around them. And then they finally are able to, they're like, hey, the whole reason, the thing that led to us falling apart was us trying to build a better future and then letting our egos get in the way of that. We wanted to make a place where people could come together. Yeah, once they embrace that, it's, problem solved.
Best roller jam ever. We're going to move on to the final theme of these episodes, which is treating people better. Michelle, what do you got?
Lunella still has a few things to learn, but one of the things that really struck to me, I think the Lunella from the first part of the season wouldn't have trusted her fellow STEM friends to help her with the heist, but she gets everyone involved, and she even talks one of them through going, yes, you can do this, instead of taking it on herself. She actually is like, no, you can do this, and lets them have their moment of glory.
My first thought with that was, of course she lets her STEM friends help because she can't be Moon Girl. But then after sitting with it for a few minutes, Moon Girl was my first thought and her first thought, but she really leaned into having her friends, and there was no pity party for herself on having to use them. And she was instantly, okay, here's what I know my friend is good at. Here's what my other friend is good at. Let's make something that works.
I like Cecilia.
That whole thing was just so fun to watch. You see these kids working together. They demand respect, and they showed that they deserve that respect.
I like the callback. Part of the plan was Dino doing the fake, and I thought that was a good callback to the shoe episode where he tries to make the knockoff shoe. So I like how little things came back into, later episodes.
You know who else really deserves respect, though? The science teacher.
Herbeck.
Yes, Herbeck has nothing to do with them actually learning science. He doesn't even pretend. They know. I wouldn't be surprised if he has Lunella teaching the classes most of the time when anything is taught. But he is really invested in making sure that they learn. And he is cognizant of the fact that he can't be that person, but he can be the person to put them in the position to make it happen.
I did love that. It's such a wonderful subversion of the usual, coach teaches science and is kind of a jerk because, he's a jock and they're nerds. And here he's just like, no, you're my kids. I may not understand you, but I'm going to make sure that you get good opportunities and you're treated right.
Like when he throws Lunella out in the dance floor. Get out there. I thought that if Brian Glory was treated better in the not Roll With It episode, what was it titled? It was titled Roller Jam episode, that he wouldn't have become the evil Blue Streak that he became. It's a really thin margin there, but it is one that's there. And then Eduardo, I can't blame it all on Lunella because I think he's got some there because he wants a relationship with Lunella, especially after the dance episode, right? And he's going after Marvin and oh, hey, don't take Marvin away. No, that would be bad to torture him as he's shouting out. And I think that we're seeing some early beginnings of if you would have treated people better, things would have turned out differently.
But Lunella is learning and has learned over the course of the season about how to become a better friend, how to use words better. Not perfect. One of the things I do like about this season is that she doesn't end up absolutely perfect, which means if there's another season, and I hope there is, she can take the lessons that she's learned and further develop those skills.
Related to that, I loved, every time that Lunella is trying to force herself into a box that she thinks she's supposed to be in, things don't really go well. She thinks, okay, I'm supposed to be like this during this dance, and just ends up making herself and Marvin uncomfortable. At the beginning of the season, she's fighting Molecule Man. She's, almost gets beat. But when he comes back, we find out she didn't need to beat him. She just needed to understand him. And that empathy, her just saying, like, I'm really sorry, that must have been incredibly tough and painful. And then her generosity with giving him the suit so he could regenerate and heal, like literally heal, really helped him come to terms with what happened and helped him be able to move forward instead of clinging to that pain. And I loved that. Lunella's strength isn't in her, physical strength. It's in being herself. It's her brains, her empathy, her passion. Just, again, it's like she achieved her not quite final form, because again, I really hope that we get another season, but she's leveled up, I guess.
Another example in this whole thing in the episode Family Matters, when you get, I'm trying to remember his name,
Silvermane.
Silvermane. When you get Silvermane and he is now transferred into a teddy bear, that's going to come back.
I can't wait for the evil teddy bear.
Yeah, but that's another example. I mean, he's kind of evil anyway, trying to take away the suit, but that's just another example of you're going down a path, and if you would have done it maybe differently, you might have turned the teddy bear around. I just don't think it was going to happen with Silvermane right there. Anyway, we're going to move on. Lauren, you had some shout outs for some voice actors.
I do. I'm only not bringing up Edward James Olmos because we talked about him last time, but we had Alex Newell as Pebbles. You might know them from Glee. Bumper Robinson as Redwing. You might know them as Falcon in as Sam Wilson Falcon in one of the more recent Avengers cartoons. Cree Summer as Aragorn. You may know her from everything. She is a voice in literally everything. Giancarlo Esposito is Granite. You may know him from Breaking Bad. David Tennant is Franklin. You may know him from Doctor Who and as Kilgrave in Jessica Jones. I loved that he flew off in a little doghouse Tardis at the end.
And Scrooge's DuckTales.
Yes. Parker Posey is Cat Swan. I loved that you had a reference to her being in a dog show episode when she was in the movie Best in Show. Peter Weller as Dr. Stern. You may know him as RoboCop or Buckaroo Banzai. Arsenio Hall as Vernell. I know him best from Coming to America, which is one of my favorite movies. But again, guy's been in so much stuff. He had his own talk show. Manny Jacinto is Blue Streak / Brian Glory. You may know him from The Good Place. Jonathan Banks as Silvermane, again from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. And Erika Ishii as Turbo. And you might know them from a lot of online tabletop stuff, or I forget the name of their character in Apex because I haven't played it in forever. But they've been in a lot, and I was really, really happy to hear them.
I mean, I'm running down Giancarlo's filmography.
He's been in so much.
196 credits. Yeah. If you've watched The Mandalorian, you've seen him. If you've watched the Revolution on NBC, he was a main character there.
He's Lex Luthor in the Harley Quinn animated series, and he's hilarious.
Yeah, so he's been around for a minute. I just want to point that out. So yeah, lots of great voice acting talents in here, and I'm actually kind of a little shocked that they're able to get some of these names. But on the other hand, hey, any chance to work with Marvel, right? I have a brief question for everybody, and I was thinking in terms of the last scene that happens where we don't know if we're going to get Moon Girl into a season 3, basically because her mom has said no. So I was thinking of all the moms that we've seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and on the Marvel series so far, and this is not an exhaustive list, but say Moon Girl's mom, Ms. Marvel's mom, Laura Barton over in Hawkeye, she's the mom of the family over there, Elaine Walters with She-Hulk, and Peggy Lang or Maggie Lang in Ant-Man with Cassie Lang's mom. So you got all these moms. Do they have a group? Do they have a support group, a superhero moms group? And if they do, what's it called?
I have an idea.
Yep.
MAD, Mothers Against Dastardly Deeds.
Okay.
Mommies
I've been thinking
opposing
about that
minors.
since yesterday.
Mommies opposing minors in existence as superheroes. Acronymed as mommies.
I like it. I'm throwing this out to our audience. If you have an acronym that you can throw at us for a superhero mom support group, let us know that. All right, next time is going to be in 2 weeks. We're going to be off next week. We are going to be covering the very coveted and much awaited X-Men 97 premiere. I think it's only going to be one episode, but if it's multiple episodes, we'll cover that as well. And that is in 2 weeks. We're really looking forward to that since we have covered all of X-Men 92, also known as X-Men the Animated Series, previously on the show, preparing for this week coming up. All right. Last thoughts for Moon Girl and Devil Dinosaur, Michelle?
Disney needs to hype the show a lot more.
Are we going to get some kind of a Champions run from that series arc that got cut off by COVID?
That'd be kind of nice. Lauren?
Everything about this show is so good. The design, the character designs, just the art direction in general, the music, the writing, the voice acting. It's so good. And I want more people to be aware of it.
And I will just say, talking about the very end when Lunella's mom says no, forbidding kids from executing their superpowers, that never goes well. So if we do get a season 3, and honestly, I don't know if there's a season 3 on the table or not, but if we do get a season 3, that's going to be a main plot point for at least an episode. All right. If you want to get a hold of us, there is our website, legendsofshield.com. We have a Discord server at gonnageek.com/Discord and a voicemail line at 844-843-2871 or 844-THE-BUS-1. Last thought, Lauren.
I was looking up if there's going to be a season 3 and I saw, the scripts are all done. And then the rest of the headline was, but no guarantee it'll happen. So please, if you're listening to this, spread awareness of this show. It's great. My niece is watching it and she's very little, but this is perfect for kids and adults, in my opinion.
All right. Until 2 weeks from now, I'm Director SP.
I'm Agent Lauren.
I'm Agent Michelle.
And I'm Agent Chris.
See everybody in 2 weeks. Bye.
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 Is the lab off limits now? Is everybody living down in the lab?
Maybe if she can argue that she's not doing superhero business in there?
Do they have to pay taxes on the lab since they know about it?
Do they rent the place?
I don't know.
Then are they going to get kicked out by the landlord?
I don't know. All right. We'll find out in season 3.
Thank you for listening. The intro music heard on this podcast is Great Marvels of the World by Lynn Publishing, found on pond5.com. The outro music heard on this podcast is Cinematic Trailer by Ed Records, found on audiojungle.net. Other transitional music on this podcast is found on incompetech.com, audiojungle.net, and pond5.com. For more information about this podcast, please visit legendsofshield.com. What's yours?
I'm so glad I don't have to hold back this week because I had seen the whole thing. And it's like I didn't want to get some of the episodes mixed up. And I didn't want to bring in any spoilers because there were things you were talking about. And it was like, I can't say that.
Kaylee thought she had to tell me that Franklin was David Tennant.
It's pretty obvious.
The part with the little Tardis doghouse at the end. There's
I know.
between that and Parker Posey being the dog show woman, which was a great callback to Best in Show, which is a movie I love.
God, that movie.
I was kind of hoping that the Busy Bee would be mentioned at some time.
Legends of S.H.I.E.L.D. is copyright 2013 through 2024.